this video, the British guy reacting to the don'ts of visiting the USA pop up in my recommended page or whatever, and I watched. I think I ended up watching the whole thing, just not on this computer. It was on my phone and stuff, so it's so it's messed up there. And then I figured I would make. I'm sorry, I'm saying I a lot for some reason. Anyways, I figured I would make a video on this too, cause the British person, literally the British person, cause that's what he said. He reacted in a different way. So I figured, how about an actual person from the USA react to this and tell you whether it's right or not. So why not?
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look.
Definitely don't do that. I mean, I would say not to touch anyone in general unless you know them, no matter where you are in the world, but specifically specifically America, like, we really do not like to be touched. At least me, definitely, I know I don't like to be touched, and I bet other people don't either.
Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay?
Yeah,
so
don't do that,
make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going, all this stuff, and my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation.
Yeah.
Look, when we were in China and we were in throughout Europe and South America, we took.
Don't do that. If you have to use public transportation for any reason at all, just assume that they're gonna be like very late. Like, basically, just assume they're gonna be very late every time. I mean, obviously you show up on time just in case they do show up on time, so that way you don't miss your bus or whatever, but just assume they're gonna be late, because they're probably gonna be late.
Buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place, because public transport is really developed. Here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport.
Even in New York, man, even in New York, I just basically assume they're gonna be late. Show up on time just in case, but assume they're gonna be late.
And it'll take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, in middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good. And at night, sometimes it's not very safe. So that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to.
Not safe at all. At all. Like, yeah, at all. Like, literally at all.
Rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States.
Yeah, I guess, but you shouldn't underestimate the size of any country ever. I don't know about this one, but I don't know why this one specifically, but yeah. In general, you shouldn't underestimate. But yeah.
It's continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from I'm going to go to from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to L.A. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. The distances here are insane. So what I recommend is picking a region. So, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England. Or we're going to go in the southeast, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that. Or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like, my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home. Just for lunch. 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours when we start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through. Okay, this isn't like, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no.
No, you can't do that.
We drive all the way through.
You have to drive all the way through.
Now, my next don't for you when you come...
If you don't drive all the way through, you're gonna end up spending way more time than you need to and stuff. Just drive all the way through. Don't stop for breaks. Maybe you could sleep at night, and if it's overnight travel, sleep at night, and eat food, and get back in your car and go as soon as possible. Don't eat your food and then spend some time there. No, get in your car as soon as possible and go.
Here is, don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the U.S. we have sales tax. I know other countries they have VAT.
Yeah. The U.S. government loves to tax people. If you see a price in the store, it's always going to be more than that. Always. Maybe for gift cards, you'll get lucky and you'll pay for the amount on the gift card. But not Christmas cards or birthday cards. Gift cards are like maybe the only thing that's not taxed in this country.
Value-added taxes, they're already put into the price of products. So when you see, it's $1 or €1, I only pay €1. In the U.S., it is not like that. We have sales tax, so a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere.
Exactly.
Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes. And some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're going to go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not going to be $1.
Yep.
Where I live, there's 2 cities right by where I live. One, it's going to be $1.08. The other one, it's going to be $1.09. So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top.
Yep.
And that leads us into the 5th don't, and that is don't forget to tip. Look, in the U.S.,
if you don't tip in this country, that's considered rude, and you're immediately the a-hole, the butthole, the butthole, the mean guy, the butthole. Yeah, you're just seen as the asshole. Asshole! You're an asshole if you don't tip in this country. That's just how it is.
Tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place, but if it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the U.S., there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the U.S. It's because there's kind of this understanding that the service...
Exactly, right there, exactly. They probably will, if you forget to tip at a restaurant, they'd probably remember that, because, like I said, you're immediately seen as an asshole. if you don't tip. If it's an accident, that's okay, but yeah, basically the reason for we have reasons for that, but the reason for that is the people that work at restaurants do not get paid at all. They get paid by every penny you put in that tip. If you don't tip, they don't get paid at all. That's how this works. A waiter bring your food to your table and stuff, but they do not get paid for that. Your tip is their payment. What you decide to give them as a tip is what they get paid. So,
fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping, and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food...
Yeah, they should pay their people more, but that's the thing. They don't pay the people at all. You just don't get paid. The tip is the payment. If you think they should get paid more, tip more. That's literally the only way to get paid.
They can do that, but they don't. Okay, so tipping is something we do here in the U.S., so do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're going to want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink. So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't is don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the U.S. Look, because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the U.S., the people actually are pretty nice, and they want to help people.
Yes. Are we talking about the U.S. or Canada here? Because, I mean, this was made in 2017, so maybe it was different back then, but now most people aren't that nice here. Like, it's very hard to find someone that's really nice here now. But there's plenty. I think what he's talking about is people are nice in jobs, like as a waitress or something, or waiter or waitress or something like that. Yeah, it's literally their job to be nice. If they don't be nice, they'd probably get fired after a while. So yeah, speak about that.
And sometimes for some
but like just walking down the street or going, going through the city and stuff, whatever, and chances are no one's gonna be nice, and like maybe very few people.
Travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread, I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes.
Yeah, so it's not really free. You still pay for it, but you pay for it in the meal. I mean, it won't be considered stealing if you just have that and not buy a meal, I don't think. But I mean, because they have to keep it as quote unquote free. But yeah, if you just come to a restaurant, eat that, and then leave, yeah, yes, so yeah, yes, so if you do that, you have, if you walk into a restaurant and ask for, some water, I mean, and then tell them you're gonna leave, just you want some water, they might give it to you, maybe, but most of the time I expected to buy some food if you're gonna take that free stuff.
with your meal, okay? Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out, all right?
Exactly.
You actually have to order some food when you go there.
Exactly.
Now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the US. If you're smoking cigarettes in the US,
Yeah.
people will look at you like
Yeah, about that. Yeah. You just don't. Like, plenty of people smoke cigarettes here, but I always looked at people who smoke cigarettes here are looked at like they're about to kill someone. Like, that's how cigarettes are perceived, because cigarettes do harm you, and like, especially parents with babies, they just they think about you like you're about to kill their child when you smoke a cigarette. That's just how it works in the U.S. Like, it just, yeah.
you're trying to kill their baby.
Exactly.
Cigarettes is like totally verboten. Like people really frown upon it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes,
for some reason.
oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette 2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke-free. It's smoke-free, so you got to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things. So that can be something. So
or do it in your own house, or
liquor store.
or do it in your own house or own car or something.
Give you the next don't, and that is don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21, or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the
I mean, that's literally just a law. The rest of these are like stuff you might not know and stuff, but this is literally just a law. Like, you could probably, if you read the laws, you could figure this one out. The rest of the ones you can't. So I don't know why this would be on here. I mean, it's literally a law. He's not like listing don't shoot people or don't steal on here, because those are laws, and this is also a law. So I don't know why this is on here.
the U.S.
But sure.
They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID.
Yep.
Because if you look like
You
you're
have to
40
have
or
it.
under, they
You have to have your ID. If you try and purchase alcohol without your ID, you're gonna end up getting a police escort. Maybe out of the business to your car, or just the jail if you go full Karen on them and stuff. But yeah, I don't care if you're 80. I don't care if you're 100 years old. You have to have your ID 100% of your time if you even think about buying this stuff.
may ask you for that, and don't get mad at them, because if they don't ask, they can get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID.
Yeah,
if they wanna buy
everyone
liquor, or
has
they
to
wanna
have
buy,
their
they want to buy
ID.
alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just FYI on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't we don't use meters. We don't use
Yeah, metric system. Nobody uses the metric system here. In fact, most people would get pissed off, really mad, if you do use a metric system. Which, on the side note, is really funny, because literally the smartest people in the U.S., the smartest, I'm talking about NASA scientists, the smartest people in the U.S. use the freaking metric system, but anyone below the scientist, anyone that's not a scientist basically will get pissed off at you if you use a metric system for some dang reason.
kilometers. We don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you. But honestly, you may say, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay? So just do that because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here.
Yeah.
So our next stone is when you do come to the U.S., there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are...
Yep. People will get really pissed off if you talk about this stuff. Like, seriously, people are very serious about the guns and politics here. Like, people will get really mad at you and have a shouting argument match with you if you say the wrong things about guns or politics or something. So just don't.
You will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you.
Exactly.
So it's best just to lay off those topics. Talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today and we could go sailing? Yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just putting that one out there for you right now. Now, my next note for you is don't assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European.
Exactly. Don't assume all of us are the same. Don't, for any country, really, don't assume Australian is the same. Don't assume German is the same. Don't assume Asian is the same. Don't assume anyone is the same. So I don't know why this is U.S. specific for some reason, but yeah, just don't assume. Assume makes ass of you and me. So yeah. I realize I'm swearing a lot in this video, and I try not to swear, but anyways, I don't give an if anymore. Well, for a specific video. Anyways.
European. Look, the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other, and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No.
In fact, this is the first big... I'm gonna say big bone guy with a ponytail I actually saw. Like literally, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a big guy with a ponytail before in the U.S. I've seen people with ponytails that were skinny, and I've seen big people that didn't have ponytails, etc. But yeah.
There's actually a lot of skinny people in America too. Not
most of the time, if you look on the streets and stuff, you'd probably find a lot of skinny people. The bigger people are probably not gonna go out on the streets. You'd find the big people in a Walmart or in their house. That's it. They're not gonna be just randomly walking the streets for no apparent reason. Or like maybe you'd find them at a restaurant. But yeah, you're just not gonna find. It really depends where you look. If you look out on public on the streets, chances are you'd find a bunch of normal skinny people and maybe a few big people mixed in. If you go out to McDonald's or Walmart, you'll find a lot of fat butts, maybe with a few skinny people mixed in. But if you go to a gym, you'd find a lot of skinny people or people with muscles and very little fat people. So really depends where you look.
Just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff.
Okay, yep.
There are those. So
There
don't
you
assume
go.
it's all the same, all right? So do go
Yeah.
out and explore. And that's why I always say is if you're going to come to
I'm
the U.S.,
fat,
go
but
and explore different
most people
regions because you'll
here
get a really
are,
different feel. Because going to the southeast,
a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people are. The fat stereotype here comes from because if you come here, chances are if you go into a restaurant, and restaurants are all over the place, like literally as soon as you come in the U.S., the first building you're gonna see besides the airport is probably gonna be a McDonald's or something. That's probably why that stereotype exists, because in McDonald's it's always big people, maybe some skinnies.
and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland or going to San Francisco or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is
Yeah.
really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess I would say another don't is don't assume there's no culture in the U.S. because there are a lot
Yeah.
of cultural centers out there.
There's plenty of culture and stuff, like, yeah. Just also, yeah, and yeah.
If you go down to New Orleans, you
never
see a
mind.
very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston. Here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest, with Chicago,
Yeah.
Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different cultures.
Yeah. Just if you also if you see per person in a van that's filled with kids, and they look like they want to scream at you and you didn't even do anything yet, just walk away, or pull out your phone. No, what? Don't walk away. Pull out your phone, because chances are that person is going to, if it's a van full of kids and they just look like they think they're more important than everyone else, even though they clearly aren't, like with sunglasses and like uh, a suit and tie, and a businessy haircut or whatever. Not even businessy, but like a Karen type of haircut. Like if you see a Karen in the wild, pull out your phone, because chances are they're gonna start a fight. And sometimes pulling out your phone by itself would start the fight, because they'd yell at you and can't have your phone, or you can't record them, or something like that. Just if they do that, just keep recording, and don't let them touch your phone. Make sure they don't get close to your phone at all. Like, don't let the arm get close to your phone. But record them, and then put the video on YouTube so it could go viral, and then also after that send it to the police so they could take note of that.
Culture here, historic culture with the Native Americans, or more recent culture here. I mean, you have
There's
all
plenty
that
of culture,
here.
yeah.
You can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the U.S., it's not really true, because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York, the Getty in L.A. There's all kinds of stuff you can see.
There's tons and tons of culture here. I'll pull up what I was just talking about after this video, but yeah, there's tons and tons of culture here. In any other country, there's plenty of culture. Like, don't go to a country and assume they don't have culture. There's plenty of culture everywhere.
Do when you are here for a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going,
that's not really a question. If they ask you that, just say you're good, you're fine. Don't say anything else. If they say you're not fine, chances are they'd be like, "Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to mess with that. I was just saying how are you. It's like just a general thing to say, 'cause uh, it's not a question really here. It's just to say it and take it as they were saying hi. It's a greeting. You say hi. You say how are you. That's hi. How are you? It's normal. Just do that. That's normal. It's not a question. And just say you're okay. Just say you're fine. Just say you're good. That's it. That's a normal thing to do.
how are you? These kind of things in the U.S. It's not a question. It's a statement. It's like saying
Yes.
hi. Okay,
Yep.
just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say this.
Yep.
Everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, "Well, I was just saying, how are you?"
Yeah.
Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way.
How
It's like
are
in
you
France.
is just
Ça
hi.
va?
Yeah,
Ça va?
exactly.
How's it going? How's it going? We're good to
Yeah.
go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good. You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's
Yeah.
just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So
Yeah.
don't think it's an actual question, all right?
Yeah.
Now, another don't I have for you is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get...
Yeah. If you pay for more money at a hotel, just you're not don't expect like free stuff or like uh stuff they give out. It's basically if you pay for it a more expensive hotel, you're paying for it to be cleaned. You're paying for the bigger building, maybe. You're paying for maybe better decoration in it, and maybe a small upgrade in a bed or something. Maybe some service too. Cheaper hotels don't have service and actually are just trash. You have to pay for not for the more expensive hotels just to get human decency out of it. Like, you know, if you get cheap out on a hotel, you're probably gonna get a cheap bed from Walmart. Like, well, I don't even know if they sell beds, but like a cheap bed, it's probably not gonna be cleaned very well. You're probably not gonna get good service and stuff if you go for a cheap hotel. You have to pay for a really expensive hotel if you want human decency and decent hotel.
nicer stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the U.S., it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the U.S., and the cheaper ones will give you free
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, about that. Yep. Here, if it, yeah, 13 is considered a bad number, so I guess I don't know why. Like, buildings I gone in have 13 floors, 13th floor and stuff, but apparently, yeah, some buildings don't have a 13th floor because 13th floor is considered to be bad. It's considered to be cursed. I don't know. There's demons living in it or something. I don't know. That's just random freaking stuff that's made up, and most people go with it, I guess. But like it's cursed or something, and you're always gonna get killed on a 13th floor, or 13th room, or 13th your 13th car is gonna have problems or something. 13 is just considered a really unlucky number here
A couple beds,
for
right?
some reason.
So stay at the hotels in the U.S., and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice. So
Yeah.
don't expect that from the fancy hotels.
Yeah.
Another don't I have for you is don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New
Yeah.
England. We're here in Connecticut. We've been having lobster and
Yeah.
clams and oh my god, the New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like more, more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Oh my god. The food in the different regions in the U.S. are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants.
Local
when you go to your
food is
hotel,
good,
ask
yes.
them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally
Yep.
owned and operated restaurants so you can go there and check out those places.
And also, I don't really go to like a billion-dollar restaurant business that much. Like, obviously you could go do it, but tend to ease more. I use the mom and pop shops and like the family restaurants and stuff like that, cause they tend to go out of business because people would prefer McDonald's over Mick Mom and Pop Shop. I don't know. Stuff like that. So on top of this, also, yeah, try and find a small business, because big giant billion-dollar businesses are praised here like there's some kind of god or something. Jeez, and like small businesses don't exist because they just go out of business because people don't use them. So if you find one, use it, please.
Because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owner is the ones helping you out. And that is really kind of a cool thing.
Place,
Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look,
yeah,
healthcare
definitely.
in the U.S. is insane.
Yeah, basically, just don't. Just try. Basically, if you have to go to a hospital for any reason, it would probably be cheaper to fly to a completely different country that has free healthcare than to actually pay for the healthcare here. Like, I'm serious. Like, it might actually be cheaper to try and find a free hospital in some other different country if you fly there. Well, no, because we're gonna tax you for the flight too, so maybe it won't be, because it might be more expensive because we freaking tax you for that too. We tax you for everything. Yeah, everything costs a lot of money here. So I don't know. It might be, it might not be, but basically just try not to get sick. Try and avoid doctor's offices. Well, go for your normal checkup. Go for normal stuff, but just try and avoid doctors and hospitals and stuff if you can avoid them. If you can't, obviously go to one, but if you can avoid them, if you're perfectly fine, just try and find a home remedy or something, because if you go to a hospital, you're gonna end up paying literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, like maybe $100,000 or something for a small checkup or something. I don't know. I'm not old enough to pay for my own stuff like that now. If I go to a hospital, my family still pays for it because I'm not old enough. But yeah, basically, I do know that it's very, very expensive.
Expensive, and just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance.
Even with insurance doesn't cover all of it. Insurance doesn't cover all of it. You still pay for some of it. With insurance, maybe you get like 75% discount or something, because insurance would pay for 75 of it maybe, and then that's why you always get multiple insurance companies for the same thing, so that way you can make sure they pay for all of it, because one insurance company is not enough. They might pay for like 75 or 80% of the cost or something. Oh, and also they don't like paying for stuff either. Like you have to get lawyers, you have to go to court and stuff just to prove that you, like for a car accident or something, just to prove the other person was at fault, so the insurance will pay. And you'll have to pay for really good lawyers to get the insurance to pay. For hospitals and stuff, hospital insurance, they probably will pay and stuff, but you have to make sure that it was an accident, it wasn't your fault, and prove that it was completely an accident and you had absolutely nothing to do with it. And if you had even the slightest little bit to do with it, you're done. You're paying for the entire thing. The insurance won't pay a penny. Probably, basically. That's, as far as I know, that's basically how it works. But get insurance anyways, because they will pay if you prove your innocence and prove that it's the accident, whatever caused your injury wasn't your fault.
So in case you do get sick, or you do break an ankle, or you do break an arm, or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now you might have to pay it first, and your insurance pays you back.
But you pay it first, and
healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive. Okay, so make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states.
Exactly.
They said no, the U.S. has 52 states.
It surely does. If not have 52 dang states, it has 50 states. Had 50 states for generations and generations and like thousands of years, maybe. 50 states. There's 48 states on the main plot of land, and then there's 2 islands that are count as states. And there's 2 islands that count as states, and those islands branch off into maybe smaller islands, but those do not count. Like, Hawaii I think that's a state, and then Hawaii also has many, islands. Yeah, those are part of Hawaii. They don't count as separate states. Those are part of Hawaii. So, 1,000 islands, that's just 1,000 islands. Those are 1,000 separate islands. Those don't count as cities or states or anything. That's just a place you could go to tour. That's not even a city, a state, or anything. That's just a place you could go to. But Hawaii and one other one. I forgot the one other one, but those are the numbers 49 and 50. But on the mainland is 50 states. You could yell at me all you want. It's not 52 states. It's 50.
Look, don't think the U.S. has 52 states.
Yeah.
The U.S. has 50 states. Okay, just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school, they told me 52.
Yeah, the school is wrong.
On the mainland, and then
if they told you 52 in school, that's a failed education system, and your parents lost money because they invested in something that failed you as education. Because it is not 52 states; it's 50. If they tell you it's 52 states in school, that you probably don't believe anything else to tell you, because education is gone.
And Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right?
Yeah.
So, those are our don'ts for visiting the U.S. What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S., just so we can get things going. Anyway, if you like videos like this, we have stuff on what the don'ts of going to Russia, the don'ts of going to Germany, the don'ts of going to Brazil and things like that. And we really like helping travelers with honest travel advice. So, if you like this video, do click that subscribe button. It means a lot to us.
This is the original person that made the video, Walter's World. I have to do not touch the Americans. Yeah, that's the first comment. Sure, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, this is the original guy that made the video, so you could go check him out. And then this is the guy I watched that gave me the information, that gave me the idea for video. He reacted to it, and I figured I'd react to it too.